I grew up going to an Anglican church, very much a high church, and all through my sort of teenage years I attended a church, and then I drifted away to pursue other interests, shall we say. And then December 2020, Christmas 2020, me and my whole family all caught COVID-19, and while my wife and 2 daughters managed to get over it quite quickly, I just seemed to be getting worse and worse, and I deteriorated to a point where I ended up with pneumonia in both my lungs, and I ended up being ambulanced into hospital. So while I was in hospital, Siobhan was at home isolating with our 2 daughters, and for some reason she just felt drawn to speak to her friend Steph on the phone, because she couldn't go anywhere. And Steph just so happened to be the only practicing Christian that she knew of, really, and all she could do was thing to do was to ask Steph and her family to pray for me while I was in the hospital. And that gave Siobhan some real comfort at a time that was really quite stressful for all of us. 2 or 3 days later in the hospital, I started to show signs of actually getting better, and I started my body started to recover, and they took me out of the respirator hood. After a couple of weeks, I was allowed to come home with an oxygen concentrator, and that sort of was the beginning of our journey, really. It prompted some questions in Siobhan about God, and she knew that I had grown up going to a church, and so she would ask questions, and we started to talk about it. And then after, everyone, 2020, we were in 2021 now, and everyone came out of the lockdown, we decided to go and find a church, and that's when we found Grace Church. I can remember the first time we went into Grace Church in Chichester site. Everyone was so friendly and welcoming. I mean, I've got this really vivid memory of speaking to Bill on my first visit to Grace Church Chichester, and he said, "Have you been here before?" And I was like, "No, we've never been here before." And he was like, "Oh, you're going to really like it here." And he wasn't wrong. He was not wrong. Everyone was so welcoming and so friendly that we just felt like we'd found our place to be instantly. It was really something special. We began regularly attending the Chichester Grace Church, and every Sunday we would be there, and we were having a good time. Siobhan heard about Alpha course, and she signed up for the Alpha course. And my wife has always had terrible anxiety, to the point that sometimes in the early days of us being together, she wouldn't leave the house or go out. And I was seeing this change come over my wife, where she was going out to Alpha, she was getting involved in things with the church, and everything just seemed to be changing for the better. And so following this, we then decided in December 2022, we were both going to give our lives to Jesus, and that we were going to get baptised. So it's Christmas 2022. Bognor Regis, there's a pool, there's us. It was magical. It really was a special moment for us both to say, this is where we want to be, and we want to give our lives to Jesus, and we want to be Christians. A couple months later, I decided I wanted to do a beta course, and it was a really sort of tough time for me at beta, I think, because I can only describe the feeling I felt at the time, as I found it when I realised and looked back and reflected on all the things that I'd done personally, or in my past before turning to Jesus. I could only describe the feeling as crushing, and it was crushing. And there was probably a point there where I thought, no, this is just all a bit too much, really. But thanks to the support of my wife and God and my church family, I managed to pull through, and it really was a special time for me. Since becoming a Christian, I've become it's become a big part of my life. I've become very proud to be a follower of Jesus. You know, I just want to tell, someone told me about Jesus, and now I just want to tell everyone else about Jesus. You know, I probably blab a bit too much when I'm with my work colleagues, etc. So when Johnny and Simon asked me if I would like to get involved with the Bognor outreach, I was beaming. Like, this was so what I wanted to do, and so I was so happy to get involved in it. So we put together the car wash, and having the opportunity to go out into the community here at Bognor and just help people out in the community. See, it was such a great atmosphere that day. Yeah, so you know, this is just the beginning for me, really. I want to do more. I want to let more people know about Jesus and about the gospel and what it's done for me and what it could do for them. And that's where I'm at.